What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mohawk Motors. Thank you for coming back. If you're already subscribed, if you're not, hit that subscribe button. Today, we are back to work on the 6.0 CUCV. We're doing some front end upgrades. So let me show you what we're working on. So we're doing some upgrades in the front of the truck. If you remember from before, we put springless steering arms on the top of our kingpins. And in doing that, notice that the Delrin bushings were a bit worn. So I've got new Delrin bushings, new gaskets to put in and get the steering tightened up, firmed up a little bit better in this thing. And while I'm under here, we're also going to be installing some studs and new U-bolts. If you noticed, when we finished up the lift kit in the front, we reused the factory U-bolts and kingpin bolts, but that's really not recommended. My new parts hadn't come in yet. They're here now, so we're gonna get them installed. Make sure the front of this thing is super safe, ready to go, and ready to start being driven and tuned later this coming week. But the first thing I'm gonna do here is get my U-bolt and spring hanger bolts replaced over here on the passenger side. Oh, where's my universal? So I just run these out. Now with the truck sitting on it, the leaf spring should stay in place just fine. So I'll get these undone and then get the new parts put in place. There we go. All right, so first thing we need to do is get these new studs put in. And they thread into the axle housing right here. And I'm gonna show you a trick how I do this. Okay, so the way I know how to do this, or at least how I learned to do things like this, is just two nuts, right? Then run it down in by hand as far as you can. And you can use your wrench on that top nut to get it pulled all the way down in to where you want it. I guess not pulled, but tightened all the way down in. We want maximum thread engagement here. And there we go. Once it bottoms out and it's tight, then you get two wrenches and you just turn the nuts loose from each other. Now you have your stud right down where it's supposed to be without damaging the threads. So let's get the other stud put in, and then we'll get the U-bolt slung on. Hey, there we go. Now we got to get our U-bolt put up in there. And we run these nuts all the way down. Now obviously these are a bit longer than they need to be, so I'll get these snugged and then I'll nip off the ends with the cutoff wheel, because I don't need all that excess bolt poking up there. And I definitely don't want to, if something crazy were to happen and I really compress this spring, I don't want those bolts or those studs poking up into something. They could hit my transmission cooler lines and blow that out. Or, geez, I mean, if it were real extreme, even damage the frame. And that's not something I want to worry about. So we'll get these snug enough that they're not going to move or loosen. And then we'll grab the cutoff wheel and cut off the tops. There we go. Got them shortened up. Now we can tighten them down. Just like any other leaf spring installation, tighten in a crisscross pattern. There we go. That's got them mostly tight. I'll grab the torque wrench and finish them off. So I'm going to torque these down to 150 foot-pounds in 2 stages. I'm going to 100 foot-pounds first. 3, 4, and then we'll go all the way up to 150. There we go. There we go. Okay, got those all torqued to 150. So this side leaf spring is ready to go. Now let's replace the bushing over here in our springless kingpin. This part I am going to jack it up for, because with weight on the truck, it's going to want to push that bushing all the way to the inside, and I'm not going to be able to get the new one in. Alright, so to replace this bushing, we need to take our 4 bolts out here at the top, or our 4 nuts rather. 4. Now I don't know if you were able to see that knuckle fall once I had that last nut loosened. That's why I had to take the weight off the truck. Come on. There we go. There it is. So this is the bushing that we're replacing. You see it's broken. The new one goes right in its place. But first, we're going to scrape all this old gasket off, because I have new gaskets. Cool. Let me get our new gasket put down into place. Get our new bushing. Now the bushing has a little ear that has to be lined up. Yeah, look how much more that one has than the old one did. Space. That old one was super worn out. Look at this. Wiggled back down on there where it belongs. Looks like we need the dead blow. There we go. And then we'll get our nuts back on here. Remember, start them by hand. Make sure you're not cross-threading. Now that should be plenty tight, but double check with the torque wrench. go. One, two, three, four. All right, now you set your preload on that bushing, which is what prevents you from getting death wobble or really loose steering or your wheel bouncing up and down by tightening down this bolt here. Incidentally, I looked all over the websites where I ordered these crossover and these spring bushing eliminator kits from, and nobody lists like torque the preload bolt to X foot-pounds or anything. So if you have a recommendation or you know what these are supposed to be torqued to, let me know, because I can't find it. Leave that down in the comments for me if you know. But I know it's a pretty serious spring in there from the factory. So I'm thinking maybe try 50 foot-pounds and see how it drives, if I get death wobble. If I do, then I know I need to go tighter. Let's do 60. Let's see what 60 gets us. There we go. Then you just got to tighten down your jam nut here. There we go. Okay. Spray a few squirts of grease in there, put the wheel back on, and then pop over and do the other side. Okay, we're all set. We've got our new U-bolts on this side and torqued down to spec. We've got our new kingpin bushing installed and our kingpin spring eliminator torqued down to 60 foot-pounds to match the other side. So, like I said, I can't find a torque anywhere that says what these should be tightened down to. So I'm trying 60 foot-pounds to start. Like I said, I know that spring that comes out of there in the factory setup is a pretty heavy duty spring, so I got to imagine it's holding a lot of pressure on there. So I'll just have to test it out like this. If I decide that it needs to be tighter, then I'll tighten it down a little bit. If I decide it needs to be looser, then I'll loosen it and try tightening it to only 50 foot-pounds. But everything I find online says it's just tighten it to your desired steering feel. So I guess that's it. You just have to kind of figure out what you like and what you don't. So that wraps up this part of the project. The front end is done, safe, ready to go. I have one more little piece to do that you'll see in the next video. We got to make a little bit of an adjustment in the transmission. And then, like I said, later this week I have an appointment to go get tags on it. I already have insurance. So we'll finally be able to get this thing on the road and start getting it really tuned in. All right, everybody, well, that's it for this video. We've got the front end completely done now, ready to go. Those new kingpin bushings installed, new U-bolts installed for the leaf springs, and everything should be tight, ready, good to go. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in and checking out what we have going on. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I appreciate every one of you that have already done that. And we'll see you in the next video. I've got one more little piece I want to do. I'm gonna finish that up before we get tags this week. And then the next video you see after that is probably gonna be me starting to get this thing tuned. So thanks again for watching. Have a great day and we'll see you soon.